The Supreme Court had a busy week, and one of the things they did, this is from the New York Post, Supreme Court overturns New York law on carrying concealed weapons. So let's just remind people what happened here. You can scroll down. Writing for the 6-3 majority, Justice Clarence Thomas said Thursday that the law's requirement of New Yorkers who want a permit to carry a handgun in public to show proper cause that the weapon is specifically needed for self-defense violates the 14th Amendment. It does, by preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their right to keep and bear arms in public. So essentially they said, why do you have to prove why? You shouldn't have to. It's a violation of the 14th Amendment. Of course, everybody in New York lost their minds, though. So who in New York lost their minds? Let's take a guess. Kathy, Clueless Kathy. Remember Clueless Kathy Hochul? You remember her, the governor of New York? Well, she lost her mind completely about this. And she was confronted by Anne, a news anchor and journalist. I don't have her last name.
McCloy.
Anne McCloy, here it is. Anne McCloy, who did a great job, showed up to a press conference and asked some questions. We have a video clip of Kathy Hochul. Do we have that clip, guys, where we can play? Okay, here it is. Let's play a little bit of the Q&A that went back and forth between Anne, who has a completely legitimate question, actually two, and Kathy's response. Shall we? Let's go.
Do you have the numbers to show that it's the concealed carry permit holders that are committing crimes? Because the lawful gun owner will say that you're attacking the wrong person. It's really people that are getting these guns illegally that are causing the violence, not the people going and getting the permit legally. And that's the basis for the whole Supreme Court argument. Do you have the numbers?
I don't need to have numbers. I don't have to have a data point to say that this is going to
Okay, can we pause that for a second? She doesn't have the numbers. She doesn't have the data. I don't have the data. She doesn't have the numbers or the data to support in any way that it's the people who have concealed carry permits and that they're the problem, because they're not, obviously. Criminals don't say, oh, I need a concealed carry permit. Let me just hold on a second. I'll get to that bank robbery in just 1 second. Let me just fill out a paper. Just give me a second. That's not how it works, Kathy. And I'm starting to realize, I call her Clueless Kathy. She's not clueless. She knows exactly what she's doing. The destruction is intentional in New York. Don't think that it isn't. So much like everything else that Kathy supported in New York, which tanked, she's tanking the state. It's not hard. It's harder to tank the state than the city, but Kathy is quite adept at doing that. She didn't have stats to support mask mandates. She didn't have stats to support vax mandates. They don't exist. She didn't have stats to support extended lockdowns. But the best part about this is that she says it. I don't have the stats. Why would I need the stats? I can just implement policy based off of a ridiculous talking point, and everyone will pat me on the back in New York because everyone's a walking dead robot that's lost their minds. In The Walking Dead, how people get bit and they're just like, rrr. Welcome to New York. Hope you enjoy your stay. All right. Do we have that clip again? Can we pull it up? I just want to play the end of the clip because Anne makes a great point at the end. We can continue.
To have sensible gun safety laws, and this one was not devised by the Hochul administration. It comes out of an administration from 1908. I don't need a data point to make the case that I have a responsibility to protect the people of this state.
Somebody who's going to go do a mass shooting or something like that may not go get a concealed carry permit.
I never said there's any correlation between our solution here and the Buffalo case.
Okay, so, Anne is trying to do her job of just saying like, hey, almost trying to help her out. Like, hey, do you have any support for what you're doing? If you have it, this would be the time to share it. No. And that's what you need to know about what's happened the last 2 years, is that this is how they got away with what they got away with. And they did. They did because people laid down and took it. So she feels totally justified that she can come out. Now she can criminalize law-abiding, concealed carry people in New York City, in New York, in the state of New York who say, you know what, I don't like the crime on the streets. I don't like what's going on. I don't like the way you make the police force feel real small. That's not going to work for me. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to go to the range. I'm going to get the proper certifications. I'm going to get my background check, and I'm going to defend myself, my child, my family. She's now got to make them out to be the bad guy, even though she has no stats to support that those are actually the bad guys because it's a convenient talking point. So just know that everything you laid down for the last 2 years, when you had to shut down your business and many of you picked up and left New York and came out to Florida, or you had to put a mask on your 4-year-old's face to go to school when your kid was not at risk for this disease, and those masks were proven to be completely and utterly useless in most settings and in most cases because of the masks that were used, the way that were used, and the fact they just weren't working. We have plenty of data on that, Kathy. So when you did all that, when you went and maybe got a vaccine that you didn't want because you were going to lose your job because they were telling you, oh, the vaccine was going to keep everybody safe, and then you find out, well, it doesn't prevent transmission. What the hell's going on here? Ask questions. And it will stop when you stop accepting this nonsense. And when you start saying, oh, you don't have the data? Okay, we're not going to do that anymore. She works for the people of New York, not the other way around. Not the other way around. So she can take that cocky attitude and she can walk right out the door. I would have had some words if I were in that room. Good on Anne, by the way, for keeping her composure. That's why I don't have that job. Just putting that out there. If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.